Okay, so here's problem number 12 then from the worksheet, uh, which tells us a lot more than problem 11 did. One, we've got, looking here at this part up here, we've got negative slope 0, positive slope. So we know we have a minimum at x equals negative 3. Now the weird part is, from at negative 1, there's a 0 slope, and you'd say, okay, well, positive to negative slope, but wait, the slope here is positive again. So it just means a horizontal tangent at x equals negative 1. So we're not actually going to get max or min, it's just going to be horizontal for a brief moment. And then we have positive slope to negative slope, we swap at 3, so there's a max at x equals 3. And if you looked at the last one, I did it all in pen. I'm doing pencil this time because I want to be able to erase. It's sometimes kind of tough to get these to not work out and you just need to erase, so I figured I probably should show you a more proper way to do this. Now the other part that's strange is it's concave up until negative 2, which makes sense. It's got a min. It's got to be concave up. It's got a minimum. That's the second derivative test. Positive second derivative means local min. But then notice at negative 2, it swaps to concave down. And then at negative 1, it swaps to concave up again. And see how there's an overlap between the critical number and the second derivative point of inflection? That's because the graph is going to do something like this. It's concave down for a moment. So here's concave down. And then at this graph in the moment in time, it turns and goes concave up. And it's similar to like y equals x cubed. X cubed does that, where it's a turn in the graph, but it's not a max or a min or anything. It's just a weird horizontal tangent for a brief moment, be horizontal, and then sneaks back up again. So we're going to have that in the graph. And then there's another concavity change at 2 before we get to our max. Because again, we have to have a negative concavity in order to have a maximum point. So it's be concave down for that. So I don't know. We just kind of start somewhere. It's kind of easiest to start from left to right and kind of piece the things together as we go. So at negative 3, we have a negative slope to a positive slope. So that means it's a min. So and notice we're going to have a long period of time where we're increasing at from negative 3 to 3. So at negative 3, I'm going to make this kind of far down here, like somewhere like at negative 4. Like it doesn't matter where I really start at, but let's just say like negative 3, negative 4 is a good starting point. So the graph has to go into it negative to get there, and then it's going to have to start going upwards. But again, at negative 2, right here, it's going to have to switch in concavity. So somewhere, I'm not going to be going up for very long. Here's negative 2. Okay, there's a switch in concavity for me maybe, and now the graph starts doing this business. Now again, it's not very long because here's negative 3 for x, negative 2 for x, negative 1. This is where I got to get my brief moment of concave down, concave up, and then we switch. So we have a horizontal tangent. This business here went like that, has to happen. So horizontal, and then start going back up again. So, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit with the blue marker, with the blue pen. So concave down, and negative 2, we switch to concave up. Negative 1, we switch back to we switch concave down. Negative 1, we switch back to concave up. We write out that concave up until 2. So I really probably can't make it have that high of a slope because I'm running off my graph. So just ever so slightly. Concave up. And then it looks like I'm going to be around this way. I'm kind of piecing it together. About 2 here is when I swap concave down again. And then negative 2, positive 2 is where I swapped at. 3 is where I hit my max, is positive slope to negative slope. So I don't know. Here's a max. Down. Okay. So hopefully you can kind of see these points in the graph where it all minimum, swap in the concavity, swap in the concavity again, swap in the concavity right here one more time, and then maximum. So let's see if I can do this in pen and make it look a little prettier. And I'll erase out that pencil now. And again, for your homework, just make it look somewhat neat. And I kind of have the luxury of multiple years of doing this. So minimum, concave up, concave down, back to concave up, back to concave down, maximum.